memories of the time that I've spent here. Memories of the time that I've spent here. At this point, it might be useful to fill you in on the backstory. The year prior, I participated in an investigation into so-called crisis pregnancy centers that were funded by the Christian right. Myself and another volunteer had to pose as a pregnant couple. In order to sell the story, we had to smuggle in the urine of an actual pregnant woman. Urine that had been stockpiled by the woman who is now interviewing me while she was pregnant with the child she was currently nursing. At this point, I realized that I'm watching a woman breastfeed whose urine I transported across town in the cup holder of my '93 Ford Escort. It occurs to me that sharing a level of intimacy with an employer that I thought I would only have with my future wife would be, to say the least, awkward. I didn't get the job.
That was so awesome. Oh my gosh. So
Thank you.
when I'm not even going to go on about how great it was because everyone just saw it and they know that, but when you mentioned that you have a fetish for women with American flags, I totally have a fetish for watching men shave. So when that part came on where you were shaving, I was like, oh my god, that's so hot. So that was my little thing. Okay, so moving right along, this is another really awesome one. And Michael Draga's in this one too.
Correct.
This is our last little film short, and this is something that you did for what?
Both this film and the previous one, This Really Happened, I believe both of these were done as part of Coming Up Shorts, which was an annual short film competition. This Really Happened actually won the year that it was in. It took first place at Coming Up Shorts.
Wow.
I was very surprised of all the films that I'd submitted that the one about breastfeeding and a job interview is the one
And the
that
urine.
won. And the urine. That was actual urine.
Okay, so this next one is called Happy Anniversary.
Happy Anniversary.
And I think it might be my favorite, although that one, oh, I don't know. Okay, so can we see Happy Anniversary, please?
Great. This is my parents.
Hello. Good to meet you.
Wraith has been a huge help in the plans for your anniversary party.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's no problem.
Well, I'll just be in the kitchen.
Okay. So, 30 years. Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, what's your secret? You guys swing?
Excuse me?
Do you swing? Do you have an open relationship? Do you see other people?
We most certainly do not.
Oh. Well. Too bad.
So that brings me to another point I wanted to ask you about. Your turn-ons and things you like.
Yeah.
You like older women?
I do. I really do. That the screenplay for the little 1 minute script for Happy Anniversary was kind of based on there's a woman in her 60s that I had a huge crush on, and she was married, and I didn't know how to broach the topic of my attraction to her since she was a married woman. So it's kind of like a fantasy version of the conversation that I would have with her.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And then at one time I noticed on Twitter or something, you had said something about by and large, you prefer women who are by and large?
Yes. Yes. By and large, I prefer women who are by and large. That is correct. I tend to go for larger women, and I usually date bisexual women because a lot of times straight women just don't get me, whereas bisexual women, we tend to understand each other more. Especially with the whole poly thing, bisexual women kind of understand that more than heterosexual women.
Oh, so I guess we should mention that you're polyamorous.
That is correct.
And we should mention that you're having multiple relationships.
That is correct.
Does that mean that in your relationship circle right now, are you dating some people seriously? Are you casually seeing people? Do they have numbers?
They don't have numbers. I do have a primary relationship, and that's
Oh.
with my girlfriend, Pyra. And if you're watching, baby, love you. That sounded so insincere, but I really do love her. And
You can look in her eyes later
yeah,
and do some tantra.
exactly.
Mhm.
And I am seeing other people. And Pyra, to her credit, is very supportive of my other relationships.
Is she polyamorous too?
Yes and no. She's polyamorous, but she's nowhere near the whore that I am. I don't think she's interested in like having like multiple relationships.
And getting paid for it?
Well, I guess I'm more like an amateur athletic league whore.
Are you volunteering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like
you just give it away?
I'm an Olympic whore.
Okay.
I do it for the gold and the glory, not for the paycheck.
Okay. I have to bring this up quick before we run out of time because Sonora mentioned it. So I want to let you know that the other night I was with my daughter at the City Museum frolicking and having a nice time there, and I checked my phone and I watched David on Twitter. And all of a sudden, his Twitter feed starts popping up, and this is how it goes. All right, ready? Okay. It says, "This is the worst day of my life. If I die tonight, don't tell my mama it was a squirrel."
Don't tell my mom it was a squirrel.
Maybe you should be reading this.
No, I think it's
Okay.
funny when you do it.
Okay. And then the next one pops up. "If I survive this, I'm going to regret tweeting it."
Accurate.
And then this one was really scary. "I've never been so scared in my life. For the record, I don't want to die. Pray for me." Finally, "I'm tweeting a bad trip. I'm at the hospital." And everyone is left hanging. So what happened?
Okay, for the record. And I'm still wearing my bracelet from the emergency room.
It goes with your bling.
There you go. It goes with my bling. Kiss the ring, bitch. I was at a party Saturday afternoon. It was a pool party. And there was a big jug of punch. And next to it was like a Tupperware dish full of muffins. And for those of you who don't know me, I don't drink or do drugs. And I was the first thing I asked was, what's in the punch? And there was alcohol in it, so I didn't drink it. It didn't, because the way my brain is wired, because I'm not a drug person, it didn't occur to me to ask, what's in the muffins? So I ate a muffin, and it was really good. I was going to eat a second one. And luckily, someone told me that the muffins were made with marijuana butter, which before Saturday afternoon, I'd never heard of. But as it's been told to me, eating something that's baked with marijuana butter is an entirely different animal than just smoking pot or doing bong hits. And I've been clean for 11 years and sober for 5. And when the marijuana muffin like kicked in, it really just knocked me on my ass. And I was paranoid. I was terrified. When I got to the emergency room, my heart rate was like 120.
Wow.
I really thought I was dying. Like, I literally thought I was dying, and the stuff that I was posting on Twitter was like the last words I was going to say to anyone.
Aww.
And if you could have seen me in the car on the way to the hospital, it was so funny, because I was like, how when you text, you have like 2 hands on the phone, and your thumbs are just going, blah, 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 blah. I was holding the phone out in front of me, and I would draw my finger back to like my ear, and go one character at a time, like really slow.
And someone's driving you, and you were tweeting.
Yeah, I'm tweeting in the car on the way to the hospital. Oh. And I'm sure it was much faster in real life, but everything in my perception was slowing down. Like, music was slowing down.
Oh my God.
We were listening to Bob Dylan, and it sounded like a remix. And I'm thinking, do people do remixes of Bob Dylan? Like, nothing sounded right. Nothing looked right. I didn't trust anyone. It was the most scared I have ever been in my entire life.
Seriously?
Absolutely, seriously. I thought
And
I
you-
was dying.
But you have almost died before, haven't you? Probably somewhere along the line.
I mean, like car accidents,
Uh-huh.
and things that are over. Like when I was a kid, I almost walked into a gunfight.
Mm-hmm.
But like things that are like over really quick, like it's an adrenaline rush, and then it's over, and you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
But this was like 3 or 4 hours of thinking I was going to die, and not being in control of what I said or what I did or my body. I wasn't walking like myself. I wasn't using my hands like myself. Like even the next day, I could tell that I wasn't moving like me.
Whoa.
It took like several hours after I woke up the next day to feel like I had complete control over my body again.
Can you imagine if you were interviewed in that state? It would be a totally different show.
Oh god, it would have been hilarious. First of all, I was crying. I was saying, like, I told my ex-girlfriend, like, you can't hold anything I say right now against me because I have no control over what I say. I mean, I had the presence of mind to tweet, if I survive this, I will regret tweeting it.
But how did you manage to not have any typos in all of your tweets and stuff? I mean, I know a lot of people who are not on drugs and they sit there and go,
I have a lot of typos in my status updates and tweets when I'm sober, and the only way I can explain it was that I really thought I was dying, and I didn't want the last thing I typed to have any typos, and I was typing so slow, like I literally was like drawing my finger back to my ear and like going one character at a time.
Oh my gosh, that's so intense. So now, from now on, are you going to stay in your house? Are you going to go to parties? Are you going to ask about muffins? What?
I'm going to be a lot more careful what I eat and what I drink when I'm at parties, particularly, considering the crowd that I, run in.
Uh-huh.
And I've always been careful about what I drank, but it just, I don't know that I've ever been in a situation where there was like, marijuana or drugs in like baked goods. And it hit me so hard that part of my paranoia was I thought it was LSD or PCP or something. It's like,
Yeah, it seemed like
marijuana
It
had
was
never affected me like that before.
Ooh, wow.
Anywhere close.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have this horrible news in that we're out of time. And I have all these really, really, really personal questions that I was going to ask you. And I was going to ask you about Sex Positive St. Louis. And I was going to ask you about World Naked Bike Ride.
Oh, shit.
And I was going to... So is there anything you would like to plug or promote now?
Thank you for bringing up World Naked Bike Ride. World Naked Bike Ride is June 11th. It starts, the party starts at 7 p.m., the ride starts at 9 p.m. The route goes from the parking lot of the Commerce Bank on South Grand Avenue to the Atomic Cowboy in the Grove, and the after party will be at the Atomic Cowboy in the Grove. And people go fully clothed, people go in outrageous costumes, people go in their underwear, and yes, people do go completely naked. I did it last year completely naked, walked right past cops, and no one batted an eyelash. In the history of the World Naked Bike Ride, I don't think anyone's been arrested for indecent exposure.
That is so nice.
I don't think they have a website, but they do have a Facebook page, and you can Google World Naked Bike Ride St. Louis, and you can find it, or if you go to www.wnbr.org, there's a list of cities. You just click on St. Louis, and it should take you either to the Facebook page or the Wikipedia page.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I'm going to have you back
Anytime.
sometime. Yeah, that'd be so... Because this is totally... There's so much more to delve into here. So thank you so much for coming tonight. And I'll see you at City Diner and Shameless Grounds and Mocha Bees and at our next Sex Positive St. Louis event. So
Absolutely.
Thanks. All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
So glad to see you. All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.